Well, it was one of the big stories here on my channel last year, and I actually think one of the big stories for British politics overall, the rise in support for Reform UK, who ended the year in the latest YouGov poll with 19% of Leavers and 17% of those who voted Conservative at the last election switching their support to Reform UK. And a bit of an exchange, I think, between Lord Frost and Nigel Farage that I think will define this battle in 2023, whether the Conservatives can recover, whether they can win back Brexiteer support, or whether the Reform UK surge continues. And I did write about this today over at heather.news, my newsletter. Do go and check out the latest article over there that I posted this morning, where I talked about how Lord Frost in a recent article basically made the argument that those within the Conservative Party need to keep fighting for a Conservative agenda, but also one of the first big Conservative names I've seen to directly address Reform UK head on there, saying he's urging Conservatives to fight for the party and not be tempted by a Reform UK vote. Now, Nigel responded to that Telegraph article from Frost by saying if voters were not willing to turn their backs on the Conservative Party, then Brexit would never have happened. And you had Frost come back and directly address that point, saying he agreed that without the political pressure from UKIP and then the Brexit Party in the 2019 Euro elections, we would probably still be in the EU. But he says it was still the Conservatives than Boris Johnson that finally made Brexit happen. And Frost also said there, since then the government's focus has certainly drifted, but in his experience, most Tory party members are still strong Conservatives and want to see a strong Conservative agenda. And Frost saying he thinks it's still right to fight for that, to be reflected in government policy this year. Now, Nigel, when he posted his comments, did also post a video, which I'm going to play in a moment. But do let me know in the comments below, and I think this is really interesting, how many of you agree with Lord Frost that the fight for Conservative values and Conservative policy now should continue within the Tory party, and how many of you are actually deciding now you're going to support Reform UK instead? Let me know in the comments below, and let me know what you make of what Nigel has to say here.
Big article in today's Daily Telegraph by Lord Frost saying, look, I know we're not really Conservative, but we could become Conservative, and if we did, and we stopped the Channel crossings, and we reduced the size of a state, and we cut taxes, if we did that, we'd be a really good party, just that at the moment, we're not. So please, he says, please don't support reform. Well, we've heard it all before. Please don't support the Brexit Party. Please don't support UKIP. And yet, if we hadn't deserted the Conservative Party in big numbers, Brexit and real change would never ever have happened. And I would just suggest now is the time for all good men to desert the Conservative Party.